All right, you guys, thanks so much for tuning in. You are tuned in to the main radio. We are super powered throughout the week to have you stimulated virtually via talk. We have a line of radio talk shows that do stream on our platform. Just to make sure you're not missing out, make sure you tune into themainradio.com, THEMANE radio.com to get all the information. If you're looking for sponsorships, you can contact someone uh, to go into anything that would be substantial over all of our platforms. If you're interested in any other sponsorship, you can reach out to SiStar Soul Main Radio at Gmail. SiStarSoulManeRadio at gmail.com. All right, guys, what we're doing today, had a pretty busy week. As you guys know, I try to be on time when starting up. I like to try to have something scheduled, so on and so forth. There's been a lot of information going on this week. I've had a busy week and in the midst of handling some personal affairs, and due to that, been pretty busy. Unfortunately, I did not have anything set up or planned to talk about today other than the things that we generally need to focus on, guys. And, I don't really like to waste my time talking about frivolous information and what's going on in the day-to-day news and paying attention to the things that aren't really relevant to, making us grow in the ways that are important. You know, uh, Having spiritual growth, being enlightened, um, making sure we're moving and elevating ourselves to different levels of understanding and different levels of what we see to be our best self, our best self. Let me take a sec, guys. So with that, sorry about that, guys. With that, what we have to do is kind of focus on things and not be so much in the physical. We do talk a lot about being in the physical, and I think I'll talk a little bit about that. Um, when it comes to being in the physical plane, we are not only operating in it, but we're actually being manipulated by it. That simulation that I talk about is the subconscious mind that actually rules, you know, the physical self or body by way of the things that we deem important or feel are substantial in our day-to-day life. When it comes to the physical things and, for example, things that are not really important. You may consider some things a need or a necessity, depending on your value at the time. If you're a person that works, you'll probably want to make sure you have transportation, have a job. You'll definitely want to have a place to live so that you're comfortable and you're able to maintain a certain lifestyle that's comfortable, so on and so forth. So, what we have to make sure that we do, guys, is um, keep our mind focused on only the things that we need to sustain ourselves at a particular point in time. When it comes to that, the sustainability would be what do I need on a day to day basis? Well, we need to eat, sleep, and think clearly. Those are important things. Thinking clearly would entail everything that's going to lead you in the right path. Obviously, if you're not following just, the quick things that are easy to be manipulated in your life. Like, thinking about a fast car, fancy clothing, living a fancy lifestyle. Not to say that it's not important to have things that are substantial for you to build uh, things that are good for your lifestyle. But when it comes to wasteful things, those are more the physicalities, praising things that by the way they look or by the way that they sing, so on and so forth. So what we have to do is make sure that we are doing the things to elevate us to the levels of not really being so focused on the physical. Waking up on a day to day and thinking about the things that we need to do on a day to day basis, as far as where am I leading myself to? What is my possibility of doing something beneficial and elevating my lifestyle? What am I doing that's going to be beneficial and setting financial stability for my family? Um, what can I do to make sure that I'm elevating the minds of the people that I am around and surrounding me? Even if it's a stranger that I encounter, if I can spread any type of light or engagement with them to open up a stream of conversation that can, help them, elevate them, so on and so forth. So what we have to do is make sure that we are paying attention to. Hello, hello, hello there. Yes, I'm sorry about that, guys. I got distracted. I'm actually, as you guys know, I've been incorporating YouTube into my platform. So we are actually on the YouTube platform at this time. And I'm just replying to someone. So basically, what we need to do, guys, is make sure that we are being substantial in the things that are going to elevate us to a height of more clarity, more light, more, substantial growth, and, leaning away from the things that can drag us down, lower our mind state, lower our vibrational frequencies. And of course, that can be by way of all types of different consumptions. When we're thinking about all of our five senses, we have to think at the things that we're watching, as far as taking in with our eyesight, the things we're looking at, all sorts of gory, graphic, you know, things that aren't good for us, like watching a lot of scary movies, massacre movies, showing a lot of death and killing, and normalizing hatred, and you know um, feeding into racism, feeding into downing others, and things of these nature. These are the things that actually lower our vibrational frequency. They take us down to levels that do not benefit us, because we are actually dwelling in a dark place. What I've learned generally is that when a person is trying to down you, or when a person is bringing you um, to a certain space, it's generally because they're in a dark place themselves. A lot of times they're going through things, and because they're in a dark place, it's kind of hard for a person to express, or let you know that they're in a dark place and they may need elevation in a positive way, because if they're in a dark space, they're not going to see any light in that particular area. What's going to happen is they're dwelling there, so they're going to need the elevation. So because they're in that space, they're kind of down in the dark, they're not going to understand that they need someone to pull them out of that space. So what they generally do is, in an aggressive nature, they may bring you their drama. They may flood you with, the negative thoughts, and putting their negative feelings and things on you, because this is the way that they're feeling. So we have to make sure that we get out of being manipulated by people, and taking us into those lower frequency states. It could be even someone close in your family. It could be your child, your husband, your wife, a family member. It doesn't matter. I don't mean divorce them and get rid of them, kick them out the house or anything like that. But definitely when it comes to that, you have to know when to break away from that. You can't engage in arguments. You can't, um, you know, fuel the fire, so to speak, because generally that doesn't do anything else but create more darkness. And the darker it gets, the harder it is to get out of it. You're in the dark place, that's mentally, that can affect you physically, and so on and so forth. And not only you, but as I said, everybody around you. So what we're doing now is making sure we need to be building. When you're building, there are a lot of times stumbling blocks. We have to think of it as even in the physical way of building a house. We can use that as an example. A lot of times there are stumbling blocks. Those stumbling blocks may come in the way of a halt in the date that you're needing materials. It may come with a business, not a business, I'm sorry, a plan or a floor plan that isn't right or governed to what the city would propose. So you may have to wait. So we do get stumbling blocks when it comes to building things. That would also entail um, the physical self. That would also definitely entail your spiritual self because the spiritual is the full inclination of you. Most of the things that we deal with or the troubles or the problems we encounter, they kind of come from, uh, the things that are going on spiritually with us. We're not able to handle certain things. We get in certain dark spaces. We're lashing out. We're doing all kinds of things because we don't know how to cope spiritually with these particular issues. So we deal with them in a physical sense. We get angry, we process things differently, we get upset with people, we try to um, make sure that they're feeling what we're feeling. A lot of times people are putting their feelings on you because they're trying to alleviate some of that stress. They're trying to alleviate some of that darkness. So if they can take some of that off themselves and put it on you, it kind of alleviates them. This is why people come to you with their problems, and it's not good to always take on people's problems. Not to say that you can't act like, hey, I don't care about what's going on with you, but in the same sense, when people are talking about things that are negative, it's not good to encourage that. The best thing to do is make sure that you are being a listener to in some of it, but partaking in taking them away from that particular conversation, possibly, or letting them know that dwelling on a negative will not do anything for them. Maybe even looking at the situation they're going through and showing them something positive in it, so that they're not only dwelling in the dark and they can see some of the light. Because when they step outside of the situation from another point of view, it may give them more insight. So this kind of happens a lot of time. We have to be astute to that. So when it comes to uh, that, we have to make sure that we are being caring to one another, loving to one another, but in the same sense, caring and loving to ourselves, not taking on a burden or more than more than more than we should be able to bear. Right now, I do have a guest, guys, from our show. It will be Mr. Everything is Everything. He's actually one of the gentlemen that I build with as we talk about the building on the spiritual journey. We're on a spiritual journey every day. I go through a spiritual journey. We run across people in our path, and we run across people in our journey that can actually help you along the way. They may guide you. They may just, be a companion along the way and be a way of being able to hold a conversation on what you're thinking about and, help you to build on that thought and, so on and so forth. So a lot of times when you're on a correct frequency or you're pulling in light of, that right vibration, you can get a lot of that around you. It just kind of gravitates to you. So when building on panels and having conversations and talking about different subjects, you're going to run across the same light, and you'll have the opportunity to learn other things outside of your own thinking and even expanding upon um, whatever it is. And everything is everything. Thanks so much for joining me today. How you doing today, brother? You there, brother? All right, guys, you may step away for a second or just not able to join at the moment. Um, shining that light and being able to continue to share. I think I may have disconnected. Oops, sorry about that, guys. He may join us back. I had actually muted. See, this is how it gets distracting trying to do more than one thing. And, I'm trying to focus on what I'm talking about and paying attention to this at the same time, but it just takes a little work. It's not hard. It's just, something a little different. I'm trying to make sure that I am focusing on things that are important to me, and that would be getting information out, making sure that I'm sharing and making sure that I am building, I guess, a better or brighter intel into the things that can make me a better person, and you know, um, the people around me, and sharing with them to make sure that they're better in their life, and um, building up foundations of spiritual, physical, and mental well-being. Um, right now, I've kind of been going through a lot of things personally. And as you guys can probably tell from the last maybe three shows, I've been a little distracted, disorientated due to some other things, being tired, have a lot on my mind. I'm focused on, making sure that I'm talking to you guys about so much of what I'm thinking about. And it's so many different types of information that kind of coincide. And when doing that, a lot of times, I get kind of overwhelmed with, what parts to share, and, what may sound uh, understandable to a person, and it's not too overwhelming, when the information is displayed. A lot of the things that we know or we understand to our own understanding is the truth that we're standing in, but it's not just our truth that we have to worry about, it's others' truth. Because when you're in a room full of people, everybody's going to have their own idea, their own mindset, the way that they're thinking or looking at something. So, from their point of view, what we have to do is make sure that we understand that being the one person in the room, our particular thoughts or point of view is, not the only one. And that comes to with anything, we have to be astute to the things that are around us and going on around us, and how important things are. Prioritize them, like having a conversation with someone, realizing that, what they're talking about is very important to them, or they wouldn't be talking about it. It may not sound important to you, it may not be um, anything that you're interested in per se or in agreement with, but at the same time, that if you are in tune with what's going on around you. I kind of got distracted, guys. I'm sorry. Here it goes again. As I said, I got to get used to this. If you are paying attention to what's going on around you, you're always aware of these things, and you can, focus on if a person just needs to vent. You can focus on if the importance of, their message, or, what they're talking about, and see that they're taking time to share with you. They're giving up their self, they're giving up their energy, they're giving up their personal space. And if they're doing that, at least have the decency to hear them out. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to like what they say. You don't have to, you know, um, just go along with it. You can say, hey, I see your point. You can even share if you want to, but I see it like this. You can say, hey, I see your point, but I disagree with this part of it, or what have you. Or you can just say, okay, I hear you, or whatever. But always hear a person out. If you hear them out, more than likely you're going to be able to tune into something that they're talking about. Even if you don't agree with everything they say, you may see their understanding of it or their reasoning behind it. A lot of times people, oh, that's stupid, or that doesn't make sense, or something of that sort. It may not make sense to you because you're not seeing the reasoning from another person's point of view. You're not seeing the reasoning from the way that they're seeing it. So once you can understand or understand or comprehend the reasoning behind what they're talking about, then you can see where they're coming from. That may give you a better perspective or more of a respect for the person and their thoughts and their feelings and, kind of what they're going through. Most of the times when, we're in the day-to-day life, because we're in the physical self, in the physical realm, we are stuck in, self. We need to be self-centered, but not selfish. When being selfish, you're thinking more in the physical sense. You're thinking about things that are pertaining to what's going to be better for the physical me this, the physical me that. When you're self-centered, you're secure in what's going on with yourself, and you're not worried too much about all of the physicalities, because the most important thing is having your spirit right. If you have a sound spirit, everything else is gonna fall in place. It has no choice but to do that. It has no choice but to go the way it's supposed to go, based off of you um, doing the things that you're supposed to be doing. And your spirit's right, so you're gonna be led in the right directions. If your spirit is right, uh, you don't have to worry about what to do, because things will just like fall in your lap. You don't have to worry about it, because things will just start to happen for you. Um, Things will just, you'll run into people. You'll meet people that'll just, do things for you. You'll meet people that'll show you a way um, to gain information on something that you are seeking information on, to get you into the next level, or to get you to a place that you're trying to get. These are the types of things that we have um, put in place for us, to help us, to guide us, to get us to the right areas. But a lot of times we have such blinders on that we don't see these things. We ignore the small signs. I'm not gonna even say ignore it. We don't see the small signs, or we don't recognize the small signs, because we're so caught up in the physicalities of things, and whatever our spirit is trying to show us or lead us to or guide us to, we ignore it. A lot of times, if we just, pay attention to it, or um, if we just follow that first thought, which is that spirit leading you in the correct or the right direction, we wouldn't go down the wrong roads. A lot of times we're falling into circumstances and falling victim to things, because a lot of times we are, I guess we are just too used to everything that's the so-called norm. And as we grow and we go through certain stages in our life, we're supposed to be more knowledgeable. We're supposed to gain more information, more insight, so on and so forth. But if we have blinders on, it's hard to recognize, that intel, even though it naturally comes to us, because those blinders have us reflecting on different truths or false truths, or, the things that are not beneficial to us. And what I think is, we are so in tune to um, the physical, that it keeps us so on the plane, or the level plane, which is a flat line plane, not moving with frequency and vibration and love, and the vibration of the heart energy. It keeps us on that flat plane, so we're not really able to focus on what parts of ourself that we can actually elevate or take to another state. I just totally lost my thought, guys, and went somewhere else. I was thinking something I wanted to say after I was making this statement, and it just took me forward. But either way, the main objective is that when being led by the dark, you're gonna fall more in that realm. When you start doing one thing that's not beneficial for you, it's gonna lead you to another thing more than likely. You know how they'll tell you with drugs, if you drink, the next thing you know, you're gonna be using this drug, then you'll elevate to this drug because the next one's not good enough. That's kind of what happens. We're in the dark and we kind of fall victim to other things in the dark because you're in the dark. There's so many things in that area um, that you're blinded to, right? Um, this is how you can be distracted and have all the bad things happen to you, or have all the things that'll take you out of your place, or have all the things that can even be detrimental to you, to your being. Being in like a dark room, say we're in a dark room and there's a dark space all around you, you can't see anything. There could be like 10 things in there, four things that could kill you, three things that can make you sick, and the other three would be things that may be good for you. We can even use that as an example. If you have something and you're stumbling around in that dark space, if you run into one thing, and let's say you'd hope it was a good like information source or something to lead you out of that dark place, but let's say it's not, because you're already in the dark, you may run into the detrimental spot, that area that will lead you right down to your death. That area where you meet a person that takes you someplace you shouldn't be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and something happens, and that's that. Leads you down to a dark alley where you're not even seeing, the person that you're becoming involved with. Let's say in a relationship, you don't see the dark side because you're in the dark. So you get involved in that relationship, you're stagnating and stuck in it and don't even know why. And this could lead you to a lifetime of just misery and sorrow. So, that's like a death, death of your spirit, death of uh, your, your livelihood, your energy, so on and so forth. A lot of times we have to make sure that we are being able to build the light inside of us, right? Because if we're in that dark room, let's say you even have a night light, let's start with a night light that can lead you to a brighter light. Now you go a little further. Hey, now I saw a little bit of something. Oh, I think I see the tip of a flashlight. Boom, now you got a flashlight. You have a better area to expound upon now because you have more light than you did before. So there's more to view out there. You're not, your boundaries aren't as small as they were. Um, then you go to a different area. Once you go to a different area in that, you see a crack in the doorway. Now that you got your flashlight, you look a little further over there in the corner. It's like, oh, I think I see a little light there. Now you get to that light. There's the door. You open the door, there you go. So it all depends on what you're doing and what you can see. We're putting certain things in our life that could affect us negatively. You know, uh you in this room, and you're taking on some things that aren't good for you, say a lifestyle of drugs and alcohol and partying and things of that nature. You're partying, you're having fun. All you can think about is the fun you're having. You're in the dark, you're drinking, and you're enjoying yourself. You're having this party lifestyle. You're in the dark, because you can't really see what's going on. You're not conscious even to your own state of being or your well-being, your safety. A lot of times, people aren't even aware of what's going on when they're in certain states of drinking and slumber. So, it's not healthy in a lot of ways to not be conscious of yourself, not be conscious of your spirit, not know what's going on. You have to have this joy in you, in order to experience it. You have to have the joy in you in order to expand upon it. You have to have the joy in you in order to reach someone else with it, in order to share it with another person, in order to, be able to maybe help them gain some type of enlightenment they may be needing in their life. But if you're dark, and you only have some dark energy to share, how can you be a light to someone else? How can you be, the torch for lighting someone else's candle when you yourself are dim? There's just a flicker of the flame right there. You don't have much to give because your light's so low. So we need to try to make sure that we're keeping a better light, a stronger light, a better connection, uh, the energy going where there's always a frequency and there's no glitch in the system, so on and so forth. Because if you're doing that, then you're at least halfway there. Taking time a lot of times for us to focus on things that are important and uh, you know, um, those important things, we maybe take a list and figure out what's important to us. If you make a list of 20 things that are important to you, right? And I'll say that at least 10 of those things at a minimum are physical things, then you may be halfway out of the picture as far as like, letting that light be a vessel for you. And let's say about 15 of those things are not physical and they're more on the spiritual side. You may have more light in you, because you have more things that you are thinking about or dwelling on that will bring you more light because now you're thinking more in the spirit. You're walking in the spirit. You're talking in the spirit. You're doing things in the spirit that are significant to make your light grow or give it more fuel. Being objective to your own thoughts and being objective to your mindset being how you want it to be. A lot of times people choose to be negative. They choose to be um, in a mindset of, the world's against them and, everything is, coming against them because, it's everybody else's fault and, so on and so forth. But they don't look at the circumstances or um, the reason or why they're in the position or the place that they're in. Most of the times, as I said, it's to enter them, it's something within them, but they'll put it on the other person and they think it's something with the other person because all they're seeing is the dark side. They don't see the light. They don't understand or see that, they're dwelling in that or wilding in that pain or wilding in that anger or wilding in that the hurt from a circumstance and it's kind of hard for them to get out of that. So everything around them is so dark that they can't even get the energy to um get a better idea or thought about what to do or make the change in the situation or circumstance or, what have you. A lot of times you can try and tell people, I've had people I've known and repeat the same thing to them over and over and over. They never get it. They just don't want to get it, because you would think, after so many times, the person will understand and comprehend things that you can tell them to be beneficial to them. So, you get upset because you're going over and over with them. And then, I realize like, wow, it's not that they not trying to hear me. They just cannot comprehend. And a person, it takes for them to see, they have to stand in the truth or what's going on and see it for themselves because, like I said, they can't put themselves in your shoes, so they don't see it the way you're seeing it. They may want you to help them, they may want you to tell them certain things that can get them in a better way, but even when hearing that, a lot of times it's not going to change the situation. They're just talking. They're just saying that they want to change at this time. They're venting because they got a lot of stuff going on. They're venting because they're angry. They're venting because they want to, release some of those negative ions from their body that have, got them stressed out and neck tensed and, so on and so forth. So when they're doing that, they can release that on you. And once you take it on, it kind of takes everything away from them. A lot of times people, they feel a lot better. They'll say, whew, I'm so glad I got that off my shoulder. Or, whew, I'm glad I said that. It's like a relief to them. It's like they didn't even know that they were that stressed out. They didn't even know the effect that they were having on their body. And even at that time, once they, done that and relieved themselves, they still don't realize that, it was a certain stress level that was on them actually pulling weight down on their body, and they don't even realize now they've overwhelmed you. Even if you tell them like, oh, that was a lot of information, boy, you're going through so much, and I get tired of hearing this stuff, or man, you're always having these problems, and we always talking about this, or whatever. They're not gonna hear that. All they're doing is worried about that relief they just got, and they won't even see that they just stressed you. They won't even see that now your mind is overwhelmed with thoughts of them and their life and what's going on with them, and this and that. We're here to do that. We're supposed to help people. We're supposed to do the things and extend a hand and, so on and so forth. But at the same time, you can't extend both hands. You can't give a person both hands. So if they're down in the dirt, they're going to pull you down as well. You can extend a hand. And if they're willing to, do some of the work and pull themselves up out of that ditch as well, then hey, now we're getting somewhere. Now we can work together because I see you're putting in some effort and I'm putting in some effort. But a lot of times people don't do that. And a lot of times you waste your time when you are trying to figure out the ways to please somebody else and make things better for them possibly, or so on and so forth. We have to just make sure that we are putting in the we are putting in the work. It's important for us to put the work in. It's important for us to make sure that we are elevating others and ourselves, but at the same time, you can't lower your own energy, your own vibration if the person isn't willing to do some of the work themselves. It can be a battle. It can turn into a real big issue when a person is not paying attention to, what you're trying to put to them or what you're trying to share with them. And that's all that you're doing is taking on that weight. It's like, say if you're at a job and you're a brick builder and there's so many bricks that have to be put in on this building, and then it's you and another partner, and it's like, okay, he's got 400 bricks, I got 400 bricks. After he do about 200, he telling me he tired. Well, I'm tired now, bro. I just can't do this right now. I'm kind of worn out and so on and so forth. And you're stuck now with 600 bricks to lay. Why? Because you want to get paid. you know, yeah, he might be lazy and so on and so forth, but you're trying to, complete this job. You want to finish, doing what you need to do. So you're gonna lay the rest of those bricks. So they put that on you just because they couldn't bear it, just because they weren't able to handle it or deal with it. You know, you might say, well, dang, bro, you're a little bit tired. So what I'm gonna do is give you a little break. I'll take maybe 100 of those bricks for you. Since I'm good, I'm a little stronger than you. I know you kind of tired, and I'm at like 350 right now, and you only done did about that 200. So I'll take a little bit of that off of you. But I ain't gonna finish it all for you. I can't take the whole load. So we're just dealing with that. In a sense of trying to keep a balance. I guess that's more the important part of that. Staying balanced, not taking on too much. So, you walking crooked. you know, you get unbalanced, you get to walking with a little lean to the side. You might walk with a hunch now, any of that, because you're just taking on too much. You're unlevel, so when keeping the balance, that comes in all areas, physically, mentally, spiritually, especially when it comes to the physical. If you can't keep a balance in your physical, a lot of times that's going to throw off your mental and your spiritual. The physical has a lot to do with the capabilities of the spirit being clean and running properly, and your mind being clean and running properly. So we have to make sure that we are being um, very balanced in our walk. If you're trying to stay stable You got to make sure that you're not taking on too much over here and you're not doing too much over there. Make sure that you are able to stand with whatever you're able to take on. A lot of times we take on too much. I do it a lot of times. um, I get overwhelmed with information because I love taking information. I like to learn. I like to grow. Um, I like to stretch my brain. you know, you can never ever get too much information. So if you're growing in your mind and you're stretching your brain, you're going to be able to pull in more information. And this is, um, I guess the best way to live. I'm a little distracted, y'all. I'm sorry. But yeah, when I get tired, I've been tired. That's kind of why I'm distracted. Like I said, these past 3 weeks have been very tiring. Personally, I got a lot going on, with packing and, stuff like that. I've been doing a lot of studying, I've been doing a lot of building. I would call it like teaching in universities. I'll call it universities, these panels I'm on, I'm building with a bunch of professors and, we're just sitting around, um, you know, the drawing board, taking notes and, feeding off each other and stuff. um, it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of energy to grow. It takes a lot of strength to grow. It's not easy. If you want anything to grow, you have to feed it, you have to nourish it, you have to give it vitality for it to get any type of sustainability. Because the substance will not be fulfilled if there's no effort put to it, and that's in anything, any way that you look at it. So basically, I am very, very aware of a lot of issues that people are going through, but what we're doing right now, guys, are being caught up in the tides of time. When you think about that, the tides of time, being as time is a fallacy. You guys know we've talked about this a few times. We talk about how the issue of the telekinesis and timology, the Egyptology, all these different things. They kind of weigh in on our thinking and our processing of this information. We don't have to get into that either, but when it comes to that information, in the way that the information has come through for us, we are being caught up in that. So we have to just be very careful and astute to staying focused on the right things and, learning the right things, making sure we're pulling in the right pieces of information. You don't want to be uh stagnant or ungrounded in what you're doing, which I'm kind of doing that today, guys. But I'll let y'all know. Y'all got fair warning. Told y'all I have been a little busy. I didn't really have time to get anything prepared for today. I usually take a day or two to prepare what I needed to. This has been a pretty busy week for me. And be quite honest, I was out running around with my daughter, and she was telling me my grandbaby wanted to come see me. They rolled by the house. He was like, "Oh, I want to go to Nana's house." And she was like, "Oh no, Nana got her show." I'm like, "My show?" I'm like, "Girl, that's tomorrow." She said, "Mommy, today is Wednesday." I'm like, "Oh, really? Okay." So that go to show you, first off, I don't even pay attention to time, but that's a whole nother story. I don't even know how Tuesday went by or Monday went by, some day went by that I missed. I don't know. But yeah, the time and being caught up in that time is such a manipulation, and just the mind warping technology of a mind warping tool, that's used against us. Um, Being caught up in that time is another tool that helps us stay and fractured in that frontal lobe. It keeps us boxed in. Um, it keeps our mind caged, and not being free. When you think about an animal, even an animal in a zoo, it goes to show you examples of how we're being caged all the time, caged up like animals. there's barriers. You can see a way out, but you can't get out. You know there's ways to get out. You're looking between the bars. You can't really fit through, and things of that nature. So we feel caged up all the time. We are being caged up. We're being caged up in our mind, the worst place to be. At least if it was a physical thing that we had to worry about, we can try to figure out a way to get out of it for real. But right now, with the manipulation of the brain mapping and the brainwave technology that's being used against us, the entrapment is strong. And you have to be very, very strong in order to break away from that. You got to be very, very strong in order to know, how to even escape that or get away from it, period. Our mind usually is pretty, I guess, pretty tired of a battle. I would think, it's like a fight, in the boxing ring. We have that subconscious, and then we have our spirit. They're at a battle, and when they're trying to battle each other, you never know which one is going to win unless you know for sure that you're the stronger opponent. So what I would suggest you do is make sure that you are strong in your spirit. That's being the heavyweight, being strong in the spirit. Building up that spiritual nature, building up your mental strength and your ability to be able to think and you know uh, think in the light. Let me say it that way. Don't think in the dark. Don't think in the heavy. That stuff that weighs down on you, that stuff that is like that dark matter, that is negative energy drawing away from you, taken away from you, drawn from your spirit and your mind, keeping the person's mind entangled in like mental illness. A lot of times people are going through mental illnesses, and the first thing the family member want to do is take them to the doctor so they can give them pharmaceuticals and give them more cloudiness and even more messed up, when what they need to be doing, what they need to be doing is focusing on um getting the spirit right. Because if they focus on getting that spirit right, that mind's gonna get right. You know, it's hard to bring a dark space into a lit area. you know, it's easier to put a candle out or to put the light out to turn it off than it is to be in a dark space and to find the light. So, we are in a battle of being in that dark place and being guided, or being able to stand strong in ourselves and having enough spiritual nature that is strong enough to battle that dark so the dark doesn't creep in. It's not easy. It's not like, it's like, oh, I got this now and I can just do this. you know, it's not easy, but you can do it. You just have to put your mind to it, and you have to uh just focus on it as a day to day. In the Bible, it tells us we wrestle not against blood, but we wrestle against flesh and blood and principalities. And I firmly believe that. Um, when it comes to the Bible, people misinterpret a lot of that. I'm actually going to start doing a Bible decipher on, I won't be doing it on the show, guys, but if you are interested, you can go to my YouTube platform and, subscribe to my channel, become a subscriber, and you'll be able to be in tune to sometimes deeper or more descriptive conversation on some of the things that I talk about. Unfortunately, on air, I can talk about what I'd like to, but I do, for my own reasons, limit some of the things that I discuss on air. So when it comes to the topics and things, the limitability is not limited, but I'll just say that in order to stay as versatile as possible due to the audience, um, and the areas that we cover, I want to make sure that I'm not discounting or, talking about certain religious things. When you go to talking about the Bible, a lot of times people want to put it on a religious aspect because they in tune it to it's Christian or the Torah, it's a Muslim, so on and so forth, instead of trying to understand or understand the book for what it is. So what we have to do is make sure that we are focusing ourselves on um understanding things or overstanding things from a outsider's perspective, not just from what we think we know, so on and so forth. So I will be doing a Bible decipher. I'm not sure when I'll be starting it, I'll be honest. But if you subscribe to the channel, it's SiStar Soul Main Radio. So, the same thing. Actually, it doesn't say Main Radio, it just says SiStar Soul. I actually took that out because it was hard to find with the main radio, but you'll see the main radio. If you're interested in the Bible Decipher, you guys can go and subscribe to my YouTube channel and you'll be able to, get some of that information that I'll be putting out. All right, guys, it's near time to close out. What I'm gonna do is we're gonna end the show, and I want you guys to make sure that you are tuning in Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you guys are also tuning in to the station. We do have two different music platforms. We have some classical music for your everyday easy listening, and there's a lot of new music for new artists and up and coming artists and up to date music. So make sure you guys are tuning into the main radio. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in to SiStar Soul's Talk About It segment. You have been listening to the main radio. Make sure you're tuning in each and every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the main radio. You guys have a good night.